But I was thinking the other day, Caleb Williams just isn't a Bear. He is he's filling a huge void in a sports crazy city. And, you know Chicago as well as anybody that I bring on the show. Talk a little bit about this city that's kind of missing like it has some founding fathers, like Mike Ditka, but it doesn't really have its next performer. Now, hockey is different, right? It may work in a city, but it's very local. Let's talk about Chicago sports, what's missing and what's coming.
Everyone's a Bears fan. Everyone cares about the Bears. And the history of the city is Butkus and Singletary and Urlacher and Sayers and Peyton. And Johnny Morris, who played in the 50s, is the all-time leading receiver in Bears franchise history. He has 5,050 career receiving yards. So it's just remarkable. And so, like, offensive passing football, we've never seen it before. A year of Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, a year of Eric Kramer, a year of Jay Cutler, but nothing sustained. So what Caleb Williams, not only does he have the ability to play like Rodgers or Mahomes, hopefully, and be like a modern quarterback, which this city has never really seen before, but he also is a celebrity. On draft night, he was talking about advice that he got from Denzel Washington, whose number is in his phone. He played in Hollywood. He's cool. He has a huge Instagram following. He was rich upon arrival. Like, there's just, this town is so starved, for the star power, but also just for excellence on the one thing that everybody can agree on in the city, that if Caleb Williams is what he is supposed to be, he will own that town. Own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Because what they're saying is that Caleb Williams, the Caleb Williams hype, because this is even what the title says, the Caleb Williams hype as Chicago Bears savior rivals Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And I'm asking now directly to you, Chicago Bears fans, just Chicago fans in general, I suppose. What do you think of that? Like, how does that land to you? Do you think that's too soon? Do you think, whoa, settle down? Or are you like, absolutely, this is the buzz in the air, let's go? And I know based off of my own audience metrics, like, some people probably, depending on how old or young you are, may not really even know really what the hype around Jordan was, or maybe at most like the back end, what it was like to have Michael Jordan like at the end of the career rather than in the very beginning when he came in to the league. But fortunately we have a pretty diverse age of audience here that watch these videos, so I would love to hear kind of all different perspectives. Like, I really am curious, because I don't know, right? Like, I'm not living in Chicago currently, so I don't know what the true feeling is. Is there this feeling of, hey, like, we got our next Michael Jordan. Like, this guy is going to be everywhere. He is going to take over Chicago and the NFL just like Michael Jordan did. And he's going to bring, championships. He's going to bring prestige and popularity. And it's going to transcend just Chicago. It's not going to just be Chicago, right? Like, that's when you really made it, when people from all over really the world, but definitely the country, start cheering for your team, for your players. Kansas City, lots of people love the Chiefs now, and of course Patrick Mahomes, and it's not just people from Kansas City. It's people from New York, Philly, Florida, California, it's all over. And Chicago has that potential because it's also a massive city. So not only do they have their massive fan base in a massive city with a massive media presence, and you add that, so that's going to be juiced up. Then you add the extra cities, the extra areas that now everyone can kind of get behind Caleb and the Chicago Bears, and there's potential for this to just absolutely erupt. Really, on the levels that we've seen people and teams get behind, like the Yankees in New York, and whether it be the Derek Jeters of the world, right? Like, we see that. We see when these massive cities and these massive iconic brands get a player that takes over. It's just, the synergy is wild. As popular as Patrick Mahomes is, and he's obviously the most popular player without a doubt, if he was playing for like and winning at the same rate for say the New York Giants, it would probably be even bigger, right? You're just talking about a much more massive city with a more media presence that has farther reaches. It's cooler to like New York teams than it is say a Kansas City team, right? Just from that, if thinking about the random 12-year-olds, right? Like just things like of that nature, it's just cooler. Although of course Patrick Mahomes is changing that, but it's just a little bit there was just a little bit more of a barrier of entry. And the media talks about this all the time, right? The small market teams versus the big market teams. It's very rare that a player can transcend that. He has to be truly, truly special, like a Patrick Mahomes. And it's not to say that Kansas City has like this tiny little nothing market, because they've been a somewhat iconic franchise with with a very large, intense fan base of their own. I'm not trying to act like they're the Jacksonville Jaguars out there. But it's just the potential with Chicago and Caleb it's just wild. It really is. It's wild. And we saw how popular like LeBron James was able to get in Cleveland. And the truth is that he was really able to erupt and become Hollywood and box office. And we saw this even in his net worth. His net worth just, skyrocketed when he was in Miami and then LA. Right? Like, because it's just the markets and the opportunities are just so much more vast. And I think the potential for Caleb has potentially is something that we've never really seen, quite frankly, in the NFL. When you really think about it, when we just go through the most recent big time quarterbacks, famous quarterbacks, we have Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay. Again, incredibly passionate fan base and a large fan base, but still all the way out in Green Bay. Tom Brady, Boston, definitely big, but the New England Patriots weren't necessarily known to be quite the famous franchise or had an embedded fan base that stretched all over the country, right? Like Tom Brady put the Patriots really on the map. Let's be real here. Tom Brady is the New England Patriots. And then Patrick Mahomes, as I discussed, in Kansas City. We're now having Caleb Williams going to the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Right? It's like their fandom, their popularity is embedded even just in sketch comedy. Like they reach so much farther. People who really don't know football even, they know who the Chicago Bears are. They did not really know who the Patriots were or even the Chiefs were prior to them getting better. And again, I'm talking about ultra casual fans who I'm not talking about actual fans of football who obviously know all these teams. But when you reach the ultra casuals, the random people who will occasionally watch a game with like their friends, their husband, their partner, whoever, who will watch when, a player is on like a daytime talk show of some sort, right? Like I'm just talking about the ultra casuals. When you win those over, it's game, set, match, man. You just take over. You absolutely take over. And that is what the Patrick Mahomes and the Tom Brady's are able to do. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if I went to my mom, and again, she's now definitely a lot more educated in football now, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if I go to my mom, especially if we remove Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City, and I say, Kansas City who? Kansas City blank, what's the team? She probably wouldn't know. New England what? She probably wouldn't know. She would know Chicago Bears. That's really what I'm trying to ultimately emphasize. She would know Green Bay Packers, because that's a very iconic brand as well. So I just think the synergy between Caleb Williams and the city of Chicago, it's got potential to be massive. And I wonder, do you guys feel that in Chicago? Do you sense that this is potentially something that could just erupt to levels that we potentially have never seen? If Caleb Williams can be a similar Patrick Mahomes type player with the highlights and the winning, I can't see how he doesn't surpass Patrick Mahomes in popularity. I really don't. It'll be a fascinating back and forth. But it's just Chicago is just, you guys know, for you actual Chicago fans or people who live there, I mean, like, this is not some small, tiny little grassroots city here. It's next level. And you have a fan base that has been starving for success, starving for popularity, starving to be relevant, truly relevant. We saw what happened with Detroit when they kind of, and I'm sorry Bears fans, but when Detroit kind of turned it around. You have those fans crying in the stands when they finally got to the playoffs, when they won a playoff game. Like, you could feel that whether you're not, and again, sorry Bears fans, but whether you're, you even if you're not a Lions fan, like, you could still be like, gave you chills watching that after they won, and you could see how much it meant. And I forget the broadcaster who was talking about it, but he just said, this is an unbelievable experience. You can see the emotion, and it was. I watched that game, and it was just like, wow, yeah, you could see it. Caleb Williams has the potential to bring back Chicago to just football royalty, and quite frankly, could potentially be not only part of the court, but like literally the king of it all. And it's crazy. I got the chills just talking about it, honestly. It just has the potential to actually completely reshape the landscape of the NFL, how we consume it, what we talk about. Having Chicago Bears there consistently at the top of the list of teams to talk about, winning teams, winning players like Caleb. Whew. It could be truly something like we've never seen before. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think the Caleb Williams hype as a Chicago Bears savior rivals that of Michael Jordan and the Bulls? And do you think what I'm saying, that with Caleb Williams in Chicago, that synergy can really be levels that we've just never seen? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.